Paul George on the Warriors championship window with Curry and Butler. One young star could be the X factor. If you're new here, leave your like and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any updates. Despite a strong push late in the season, the Golden State Warriors' 2025 playoff run ended in the second round, a tough blow for a team trying to squeeze another title run out of its aging core. The mid-season addition of Jimmy Butler brought new life to the Warriors. They looked sharp down the stretch, resembling the battle-tested contenders they once were. But when the postseason lights came on, that momentum didn't quite translate. And with Butler now 35, it was always clear this version of the Warriors had a limited shelf life. Throw in the fact that Stephen Curry is now 37 and Draymond Green is 35, and it's fair to ask, is the Warriors' title window officially closed? Paul George thinks the Warriors still have juice. Philadelphia 76ers star Paul George doesn't think so. On a recent episode of Podcast P, George sat down with former NBA star Baron Davis to talk about the future of the Warriors. Davis believes Golden State needs a young star to spark a new era. But George sees things differently, and believes the answer is already on the roster. "I actually like what they're doing out there," George said. "They've still got Steph. They've still got Draymond. Jimmy's a dog. And the X factor? That's Kuminga." George was especially high on Jonathan Kuminga, the 22-year-old forward who's been at the center of trade rumors all off-season. According to George, Kuminga's versatility is the key to unlocking the Warriors' two-way identity. He can play big, he can go small, he can defend and switch, and he's only going to get better, George explained. They don't need to go out and make some blockbuster move. "I think they already have enough." But is Kuminga staying? That's the million-dollar question. Despite George's confidence in the current roster, the Warriors' front office has been non-committal on Kuminga's future. Late last season, Steve Kerr reduced Kuminga's role, pulling him from the rotation at critical moments. That decision sparked months of trade rumors, and many expected Kuminga to be moved this summer. However, a new report suggests Kuminga may actually return to Golden State next season, but with one big caveat: the Warriors would agree to move him before the trade deadline if things don't go as planned. That creates an awkward dynamic. Keeping Kuminga only to shop him later could undermine team chemistry and limit his development. And if they don't fully commit to him now, it's hard to see him blossoming into the X-factor George envisions. The stakes are high. Losing Kevin Looney already thinned the Warriors' depth. If Kuminga walks next, or if his role remains undefined, it could shift George's outlook and support Davis's belief that the team needs fresh, young talent to stay competitive in the West. Still, Curry's belief in this group hasn't wavered. He's preached confidence in the Warriors' culture, chemistry, and battle-tested core. And now with Butler on board and Kuminga potentially returning, there's a small, but real opportunity to extend the dynasty one last time. But that window is narrow. And if Golden State wants to walk through it, they'll need to make bold decisions, not just at the deadline, but starting on day one of training camp. As the Warriors head into the 2025-26 season, all eyes will be on how Steve Kerr manages the delicate balance between veteran leadership and emerging talent. The way Kuminga is integrated or sidelined could very well shape the franchise's trajectory for years to come. The front office's challenge. Golden State's front office faces a tough decision. Holding on to Kuminga without a clear plan risks stagnation and possibly alienating a young player eager for opportunity. Trading him too soon, though, might mean missing out on a potential star who could redefine the team's future. Rumors swirl that the Warriors could follow a path similar to Houston's handling of Jalen Green, signing Kuminga to a carefully structured extension that keeps options open while maintaining his trade value. This would allow Golden State to keep control, but also signals they are willing to listen to offers from teams seeking young talent. Impact on team chemistry and fan sentiment. The uncertainty around Kuminga's status also impacts the locker room. Veteran players like Curry and Green thrive on stability and clear roles. Having a talented but unsettled teammate could create friction or distract from their championship focus. Fans, meanwhile, are watching closely. After the excitement of adding Butler last season, many hoped the Warriors would continue to aggressively bolster the roster. The perceived off-season inactivity and trade speculation have left some questioning the organization's commitment to contending immediately. The Western Conference landscape. Compounding the pressure is the rising competition in the Western Conference. Teams like the Denver Nuggets and Phoenix Suns have strengthened their rosters, while younger teams like the Sacramento Kings and Memphis Grizzlies continue to develop rapidly. The Warriors' ability to stay competitive hinges not only on their stars' health and performance, but also on how well they integrate players like Kuminga and any new additions they might make before the trade deadline. What's next? The next few months will be critical. Training camp will offer a glimpse into how Kerr plans to deploy his rotation and whether Kuminga will get the minutes and opportunities that Paul George says he needs to thrive. And with the trade deadline looming, the Warriors must decide if they want to double down on their core or pivot toward a rebuild, a choice that could define the franchise for the next decade. In the end, the Warriors' fate might hinge on whether they can capitalize on the experience of Curry, Green, and Butler while nurturing the talent of Kuminga, and whether front office decisions match the urgency of their championship ambitions. Warriors' untouchables in a potential LeBron James trade could shock fans. The Golden State Warriors have been through this story before. When a superstar becomes available, rumors start swirling fast, and suddenly, the Warriors are at the center of a whirlwind conversation about chasing another championship. Now, those whispers are growing louder around the possibility of LeBron James joining Golden State. And if the Warriors were to pull off such a bold move, it's almost certain they'd be willing to part ways with anyone except two names: Stephen Curry and Draymond Green. LeBron's partnership with Luka Doncic in Los Angeles has never quite felt built to last, and the Lakers appear to be shifting toward their future, whether they openly admit it or not. If they do decide to move on from LeBron, Golden State stands out as one of the few teams capable of making a serious play to bring him in. And in that scenario, it makes perfect sense that only Curry and Green would be untouchable. Not the younger prospects like Brandon Podziemski or Moses Moody. Not even Jimmy Butler, who arrived mid-season as the Warriors' last big push for a title. Curry and Green, the only true untouchables. It's a lot to digest, especially since Butler gave the team a spark they hadn't had since the championship core started to fade. But Butler's contract is likely the key piece that makes any trade for LeBron even possible. And if Golden State decides they'd rather build around LeBron than Butler, that kind of blockbuster trade could happen in the blink of an eye. There's no question anymore about loyalty to the original core. With Klay Thompson gone, the Warriors have moved beyond sentimentality and are laser-focused on strategy. It's all about giving Steph another real shot, something the front office knows well, because they've done it before. The idea of Steph and LeBron playing side by side has been swirling for years, the kind of wild what if that gets fans of both teams buzzing. And if the Warriors have the chance to make it a reality, there's no reason they'd let role players or long-term development plans stand in the way. At the end of the day, what truly matters is the present. For better or worse, Golden State knows their best bet is to go all in before their championship window finally closes, if it hasn't already. And if LeBron James is available, you can bet they'll go after him with everything they've got. If the Warriors do make a move for LeBron, the ripple effects would shake the entire NBA landscape. Such a blockbuster trade wouldn't just be about swapping players. It would signal a seismic shift in the balance of power in the Western Conference and potentially the entire league. Rival teams would be forced to rethink their strategies, and the pressure on Golden State to quickly mesh this new super team would be immense. Fans and analysts alike are already buzzing with questions. How would LeBron's style mesh with Curry's sharpshooting and Green's defensive intensity? Could the Warriors maintain their signature ball movement and pace with a new focal point? Would this move extend the Warriors' championship window or accelerate its closing by betting everything on a big-name gamble? On the business side, the Warriors' front office will have to navigate the complexities of the NBA's salary cap and luxury tax implications. Letting go of key role players to clear space for LeBron's contract could weaken their bench depth, placing even more responsibility on Curry and Green to carry the team through the grueling 82-game season and beyond. Moreover, locker room chemistry would become a central talking point. LeBron's arrival could invigorate the team with veteran leadership and playoff experience, but it could also disrupt existing dynamics. How the coaching staff, led by Steve Kerr, manages personalities and playing time will be crucial to success. Meanwhile, players like Kuminga, Moody, and Podziemski would face uncertain futures. Would the Warriors trade these young prospects for immediate gains, or try to balance youth development with veteran star power? This decision could shape the franchise's trajectory for years to come. Beyond Golden State, the Lakers' decision to move LeBron would mark the end of an era and start a new chapter for Los Angeles. Fans there would be left wondering about the next big move and the team's commitment to rebuilding around Luka Doncic or other emerging stars. In the media and among fans, speculation is already reaching fever pitch. Social platforms are ablaze with debates about whether the Warriors should prioritize winning now or invest in building sustainable success through youth. Betting everything on LeBron could either lead to a glorious final chapter or a costly misstep. One thing is clear, if LeBron James becomes a Warrior, the 2025 to 2026 NBA season will be must-watch television, with heightened stakes and endless storylines. The Warriors would once again place themselves at the heart of championship conversations, and remind the league why they have long been one of its most captivating dynasties. Warriors could grant Quinton Post's wish if rumors about Al Horford prove true. This would be a dream scenario for the young big man. Right now, the buzz around Al Horford joining the Golden State Warriors feels almost certain. The 39-year-old veteran has been the subject of non-stop speculation since just before free agency opened. If Horford does end up signing with Golden State, it will be fascinating to see how that impacts second-year center Quinton Post. Some might interpret it as a sign the franchise lacks faith in the 25-year-old, but the reality is the opposite. Post should be hoping Horford comes aboard in the coming days or weeks. Al Horford could be a huge boost for Quinton Post's development. In a recent interview with Steiny and Guru from 95.7 The Game, Post showed a mature perspective when asked whether he expects to be a starter in his second season with the Warriors. "I understand I'm a young player in this organization, just entering my second year," Post explained. "Being the 52nd overall pick, there weren't many expectations in my rookie year. A lot of guys drafted where I was don't even make the rotation. For me, it's never been about starting or not starting, it's about how I can help the team win." Post has embraced the benefits of being a late second-round pick without heavy expectations right away. But if Horford decides to retire or the Warriors bring him in for any reason, Post could suddenly find himself stepping into the role of Golden State starting center next season. That would come with significant, and maybe unfair expectations, especially since Post only became a regular rotation player late last January. He'd be tasked with anchoring the paint for a team still aiming to compete alongside a veteran trio of Stephen Curry, Jimmy Butler, and Draymond Green. Horford's arrival could be the perfect fit for both players. Bringing Horford in allows Post to stay in a supporting role without the pressure of being the full-time starter. As a seasoned veteran entering his 19th NBA season, Horford will inevitably have nights off or limited minutes. Those opportunities would let Post get meaningful playing time, continue developing, and take on a more prominent role gradually. Horford's presence is clearly a short-term solution, and it won't dampen Post's long-term ambitions of becoming the team's starting center. With the 2025 to 2026 season likely to be Horford's last, Post can learn from a seasoned pro while preparing to confidently step into the role the following year. In many ways, this could be an ideal scenario. Post growing steadily, contributing meaningfully to a veteran team's success without carrying the entire load too soon. It's a chance for him to flourish and help the Warriors win without the burden of unrealistic expectations hanging over him at this stage of his career. If the Warriors officially bring Al Horford on board, it would send a strong message about their commitment to balancing veteran leadership with player development. Horford's steady high IQ presence in the paint and his ability to mentor younger players could prove invaluable, especially for someone like Quinton Post, who is still finding his footing in the league. From a strategic standpoint, Horford's signing would also give Golden State greater flexibility. With his experience, he can adapt to multiple roles, whether anchoring the defense, spreading the floor with his shooting, or playing a mentor role on the bench. This flexibility could free up head coach Steve Kerr to manage rotations more effectively, giving the team a better chance to keep key veterans fresh for the playoffs. However, the move would also raise questions about the team's future plans. If Horford is the stopgap at center, what does that mean for Post's long-term role? The Warriors would be signaling that they want to ease Post into the starting position carefully, rather than rushing him into a high-pressure situation prematurely. This cautious approach might frustrate some fans eager to see the young big man take the spotlight, but it could ultimately benefit both the player and the team's championship aspirations. Moreover, this potential signing fits into a larger pattern of the Warriors' off-season strategy, leaning on their core veterans, Stephen Curry, Draymond Green, and Jimmy Butler, while layering in savvy, experienced pieces who can contribute immediately and help groom the next wave of talent. It's a model that has worked for them before, and with the window to contend still open, they're betting on experience paired with calculated growth. For Post, learning alongside Horford could be a masterclass in professionalism and basketball IQ. Horford is known for his leadership both on and off the court, and his ability to read the game could accelerate Post's development in ways that raw talent alone cannot. That said, the clock is ticking. With the Warriors' core players advancing in age, the team is in a delicate balance between pushing for another title run and building toward the future. How they manage Post's growth in this context could become a defining storyline for the franchise in the coming seasons. In the end, if Al Horford does join Golden State, it won't just be a signing. It will be a strategic move with ripple effects that could shape the team's identity and success for years to come. Stephen Curry breaks silence on quiet Warriors off-season, sees silver lining in early exit. While rival teams across the Western Conference are making bold moves and reshaping their rosters, the Golden State Warriors have remained largely quiet this offseason, and that's raised a few eyebrows. But if you ask Stephen Curry, he's not only unfazed, he's focused. Despite swirling rumors around potential additions like Al Horford, the unresolved future of Jonathan Kuminga, and lingering free agency statuses for Gary Payton II and DeAnthony Melton, the Warriors have yet to make a major splash. Kevin Looney's departure has thinned their veteran depth, and compared to the aggressive strategies of teams like the Denver Nuggets and Houston Rockets, Golden State's approach feels conservative. But Curry sees things differently. Curry believes in the core. The two-time MVP isn't pressing the panic button. In fact, he remains confident that the current core is still capable of contending. He points to the team's late-season surge, particularly after the acquisition of Jimmy Butler, as a clear sign that the Warriors aren't as far off as the silence of the offseason might suggest. "We showed what we're capable of down the stretch," Curry told NBC. "That momentum, the chemistry, the hunger, it's still there." Though their playoff run ended sooner than hoped, a nagging injury to Curry played a major role in their exit against the Minnesota Timberwolves. Still, that loss, he says, brought more clarity than doubt. A longer off-season, and a bigger opportunity. Instead of viewing the early playoff exit as a failure, Curry sees it as a blessing in disguise. The extended off-season has given the Warriors something they haven't had in years: time to rest, regroup, and reset, both physically and mentally. "At this point, we're all taking advantage of the extra time off, even though we wish we were still playing," Curry said. "These last 35 games plus the playoffs felt like a sprint. Now we get to breathe, recover, and get ready for a full run." That recovery could be the edge Golden State needs in a Western Conference that's gotten deeper but not necessarily smarter. Championship DNA over roster noise. Curry's belief isn't just blind optimism, it's built on experience. He knows the formula. This core himself, Draymond Green, Klay Thompson pending, and now Butler, has seen it all. They've endured adversity, silenced critics, and scaled the NBA mountain multiple times. "We know how to win. We know how to play. The pieces fit," Curry added. Now it's about recommitting to that identity and embracing the challenge of climbing the mountain again. In an era where quick fixes and superstar trades dominate headlines, Curry is betting on something rarer: continuity, chemistry, and culture. And few teams in the league can match Golden State's collective playoff IQ. What comes next? Still, questions remain. Can this current roster, without another significant addition, truly keep pace with deeper, younger, and more athletic squads in the West? The Warriors' championship window depends on more than just belief. It will take health, internal development, and possibly one or two more strategic roster moves. If Golden State is able to secure a couple of missing pieces, whether that's Horford, a reliable backup guard, or clarity on Kuminga, the picture could shift quickly. For now, though, Curry isn't panicking, he's preparing. And with a player of his pedigree, that quiet confidence might just be more dangerous than any headline-grabbing trade. Warriors' patience under scrutiny. Curry's confidence might be calming the waters for now, but it doesn't change the reality. The Warriors' front office is under pressure. Fans and analysts alike are questioning whether standing pat is a viable strategy in today's ever-shifting NBA landscape, especially with teams like the Phoenix Suns, Minnesota Timberwolves, and Oklahoma City Thunder aggressively retooling to chase titles. So far, Golden State appears to be betting on internal growth, hoping that players like Brandon Podziemski, Tracy Jackson-Davis, and a possibly re-engaged Jonathan Kuminga can make meaningful strides. But is that enough? Behind closed doors, league sources say the Warriors are exploring low-cost veteran options and still monitoring the market for potential mid-tier trades. The idea is to avoid overcommitting cap space or gutting future assets, especially with luxury tax implications looming, while still giving Curry and Butler a real shot at contention. Curry's subtle message to the front office. While Steph hasn't publicly demanded any specific roster changes, his words carry weight. His measured optimism subtly puts the ball in the front office's court. He's doing his part, preparing mentally and physically for another grind. Now the question becomes, will the Warriors' leadership match that commitment with action? As one league insider put it, Curry has earned the right to compete for a title every year he's healthy. If the front office can't give him the tools, they're wasting what could be his final elite seasons. Ripple effects inside the locker room. Curry's steady hand also impacts how the locker room responds. His belief in the current group, particularly in the chemistry they began building late last season, helps keep the atmosphere positive and focused. For younger players, having Curry endorse the internal core sends a message: you're good enough, now prove it. Still, Jimmy Butler's arrival shifted expectations. He's not here to develop slowly, he's here to win now. That urgency, paired with Curry's quiet leadership, could create a powerful locker room dynamic, or expose cracks if the team struggles early. Klay Thompson's shadow still lingers. One unresolved storyline continues to cast a long shadow: Klay Thompson's exit. Though Curry hasn't publicly commented extensively on his longtime teammate's departure, it's clear the team's emotional core is still adjusting. Klay's absence leaves a leadership and identity gap, one that Butler may try to fill, but only time will tell if the cultural handoff is seamless. That said, Curry's tone suggests he's already turning the page. The championship dream is still alive, but it's no longer about sentiment. It's about execution. What to watch moving forward. Al Horford's potential signing could bring stability and championship pedigree to the frontcourt. Jonathan Kuminga's situation may come to a head during training camp. Either he carves out a defined role, or the trade rumors flare back up. Health and early season performance will be crucial. A slow start could force the front office to make mid-season moves, especially before the trade deadline. Until then, the Warriors will lean on what they know best: continuity, culture, and a generational leader in Stephen Curry, who believes that even in silence, this team still has something to say.